Oops. I feel like a failure as a father. Yeah, absolutely not, Scott. So don't go down your pity party. Just it's the way kids are. They have to learn to be able to self-regulate. Okay. When kids are overstimulated, they start screaming. Don't take it personal. Again, it's managing the emotions, right? My kid always tells me that she hates me. It's part of her autism. It's like, and then she come and give me a cuddle. If I took everything personally, I'd be a nervous wreck. Okay. Cool. All right. So we're going to get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is press record here. So the first thing I'm going to just go through. So what you can see behind me is this evening's presentation. We're going to talk about the 6 principles that are going to keep you on mission. Okay. And I'm going to talk you through the battle scenario that a lot of men go through when they're working on themselves. Okay. For those guys that have joined us, absolutely welcome. There are, I think it's either 4 or there's 3 places left to join us on the next phase on the Remember the Mission 90. All right, guys. So if you're going to procrastinate, you're likely to miss out. Okay. We still got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and those places are definitely going to go. What I wanted to do and why I've come on here is because I wanted to introduce you guys. Okay, I wanted to introduce you to our community. And I think it's always good to be able to see inside of the community, okay, and about what we do, okay? So this is our Remember the Mission movement. So the lads that have joined us this week, the lads that have joined us previously, this is our HQ, okay? This is Mission HQ. This is where we host everything. This is where we keep everybody. This is our house. This is our safe place. Okay. So within here, when you come to join, this is where all of your materials, this is where everything will live. Now, if you come to work with me on the accelerator program, you will also be very heavily involved in our WhatsApp group accountability. It's a much higher level of accountability, but I'm going to go through that with you in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. So we've got community, classroom, and calendar, and then we've got members and other bits and pieces. So what we have here, this is where we do a lot of our accountability. Okay. So when we look in here, we have morning accountability. So this is where all of the lads put all of their accountability posts all the way down here. Okay, all in the comments here as well, or just on their self here. The idea of this is to build up a structure, a routine, and system. It's to almost build up that streak system so that when they're doing their morning routine, they do their 4 morning pillars. So the 4 morning pillars, as you can see probably there, is we've got to do something active. We've got to do something with clarity. We've got to do something to promote a positive mindset, and we've got to do something that keeps us anchored, which is some level of gratitude. Okay, so they're really important things. So what you can see is what the guys have done, and what they do is before they get on with the day, they put it in here and they go, tick, done, I'm now ready to get on with my day. And that's what it's about. Okay, so what you can see here is basically that project. Okay, let me move this here. It's very difficult. In fact, what I can do is move you guys here. That's better. Cool. All right. So I can see now. And as you can see, our mission is to help 10,000 people, high achieving men, success driven men, build their life mission. And we do that through our podcasts. We nearly 20,000 men listen to our podcast a month. It's the Remember the Mission one. We've got guys in here. We've got guys who are mentoring. So also in here, we've got the weekly plans. So this is where guys will come in and they will do all of their weekly plans. Okay, so this is where a lot of the stuff that I spoke about yesterday, they will come in. So they will review the week and they will base it on their pillars. Okay, and then they'll go on to like plan their following week. Okay, so here's the focus for the week. These are the things that they need to do. And for some of them, depending on where they are, it will be determined, okay, on what their 28-day goals are. How far are they into that journey? Okay, so if they are planning over 12 weeks, then this is the small bitty parts that make up that big 12-week goal. For some of the guys who are brand new, they'll be coming in and going, okay, I'm doing it week by week. Okay, and it allows you to open your self-awareness levels. So this is what this is doing right here. Then we have a midweek check-in. So you come in and you go, right, how am I doing on the things that I said I was going to achieve? So it's kind of like just checking in with yourself. So right here, it's like, yep, I've got this done, but this is still what I've got to do. I've had a shit week, but this is how I bring it back. And that's what the midweek review is. Okay. Here we share our wins and losses. Okay. So lots of things for people in here. Okay. To be able to share the wins and losses. We have the 28-day plans. So this is where I put my 28-day plans. And this is where everyone will come in. This is what they want to achieve for June and a review of May. So you can see that that process is for those people to be able to raise the self-awareness levels, understand if they're on point or they're on mission, keeping connection with what they're trying to achieve. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so you can kind of see the process playing out here. Okay, we've got updates for me. We've got a career development that's coming in. So I've got a lady who's a career coach who's going to be joining us next month, and we're going to be doing some podcasts and work together. And we are going to be sharing career tips, career direction, and she's a specialist in that. So I'm going to be bringing those people in. So that's our community. Okay. Then in our classroom. So for all of those guys that have just joined us or are coming in to join us, what you're coming in to do is work through the blueprint, which is right here. Okay. So as you can see, there's my ugly mug. Handsome mug. Don't be so negative. So here's all the 10 frameworks that you'll work through. Okay. So you've got commanding and then a morning routine. Okay. And if you go through the videos, it will basically take you through what each part of it is. And it's educating you on how to have the very best routine, how to build it up, the psychology of a morning routine, the structure of it, how to get the most out of it, and dealing with all of the curveballs. Okay. And then you've kind of got here onto the second one. So we've got commanding your day. So how you manage your day, understanding more about the pillars, understanding the time blocks that we went through, and then commanding your evening routine. Basically, it's got everything in there that you need. Okay. Mastering your life, mastering yourself, mastery. It comes down further, building a challenge week, planning it over 12 weeks, SOP to problem solving, introducing longer term. Okay. So this is where this is your boot camp. This is where you're going to learn a lot of your stuff. And as one of the bonuses, you've got the self-mastery course. So this is a deep dive into the self-mastery course. So this is one of the bonuses that we put in there for you guys. And there are 5 deep dive sessions into it with all of the resources that come with it. So, and you can kind of see the screenshot and the detail of work that we go into to make sure that you get the absolute most out of it. Okay. So you understand yourself so much better. And that's the whole point of this, right? Is to be able to educate you and show you how to move forwards on your mission. Okay. And as well as the bonus, you get everything else that kind of goes in here. So we've got the deep dive series where I go and read through the book. You've got all of these workouts that are in here. Like there is like hundreds of them, like literally there are follow along workouts. There are short workouts. There's fucking everything that you need to be able to go away and get fit. Okay. Louisa, one of my old instructors. So it is up to the yin yang with workouts. Okay. Then we've got the yoga classes in here. Okay. So when you go in, here's our yoga instructor, and she has these follow along ones. So you can see they go on. Okay. And we've still got more to add on to that. So that's a 6-week yoga course right there to be able to follow. Okay. If we come down, you then got all of the focus calls that we've done so far this year. Okay, so you'll be able to watch all of those back. They're detailed sessions that we do with our members, so you can kind of catch up and listen to some of them as you go along. Okay, and we'll be putting them on. We've got nutrition folder as well, which is be part of your process. So it's understanding your calories, learning to manage and measure all of your calories, everything you need. Okay. So there's meal planners here as well, which you get all free. Okay. And then like nutrition missions here as well. Okay. So constant like education on nutrition, everything that you need basically. So you can see there's quite a lot of value in here. All right, guys. So when you're like looking at investing yourself, like, man, you're getting everything. All right. We've got so we've got right here, build your 5-year mission. So what we do about 5 times a year is we do sprints. So that self-mastery sprint was a deep dive course for continued training for our members. So the next one is going to be building your 5-year mission, which is at the end of July. So those joining us will be part of that. Okay. And you will get to be part of that. No extra cost. It's part of the process of the continued training. And we'll be deep diving into 5 1-hour sessions on how to build that up. I'll be putting resources out for you, templates. That course alone, I could probably sell for like 1,500 quid, but you're getting that for free because there is an awful lot of work that goes into that. And 5 hours worth of content and structure for you to go away and build that life is huge. It just takes things to the next level. And then we'll probably do another one in October on discipline. Okay. So it's that continued training. Okay. And that will build up in this community. And then the last thing here, so if you are going to join the accelerator side of the program, you join the elite squad. So all of those sessions are in there as well. Okay. And then we've got the calendar. So this tells you everything that's coming up so you don't miss anything. So you can add them. So tomorrow I've got a session with the elite squad. So the lads have already signed up. They will come into here and you can just add this to your calendar. We have 3 focus sessions a month. So we had one on the Tuesday just gone. So Marcus will be taking this one, okay, and then we go down and then I'll be taking this one. So there's continued training all of the time, constantly staying connected. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? I just wanted to really introduce that, guys. You know, there's only a few places left anyway. But I wanted you to see what it looked like when we work on ourselves, okay? And I think that's important for you to see the community and see and put some vision behind like the page that I put out, okay? Make sense to everyone? It's a huge opportunity, guys. Huge opportunity. Already spoken to, I think, 3 of the lads that have signed up today, already pumped up for it. Huge move for them. It's a huge move for anyone working on themselves, but I can promise you, you're not going to regret it, okay? The lads are already getting involved in the accountability. Cool. All right, so let's get on with tonight. So understanding this process. Okay. Does it seem dark in here for you? I hope not. What we need to understand is that we need to have key principles in place to make sure that we're staying on mission. I think that's really important. I think that's absolutely vital, because if we don't stay on mission, if we don't have the principles to be able to stay on mission, then we're going to lose ourselves along the way. Now I'm going to go through, I want to show you something here, right? So this might throw you might be surprised here. So if you noticed on live right now, there are 20 people live right now. So on Monday, there were about 35 people. On Tuesday, there was about 30 people. Yesterday, it was about 25, and now there is 20. And if you remember at the very start of the week, I said it was all going to drop off. Okay, and we go through and it all drops off. So when we look at how many people have been completing the tasks, on Monday, 62 people completed the task, okay, which is a really good start. Tuesday, we had 68 people show up and do the task. Yesterday, we had 41 people do the task. Today, we've had 24. So that's dropped by 50%, okay, which is a huge drop. So why is this dropping? Why is this dropping? Why are we falling here? We had 280 people that put their name and their email in and put their hand up and said, I want to change my life. If you listened to my podcast this morning, you would have heard me talking about this. 280 people put their hand up, okay? And this is relevant because this is important to understand why the principles are so important, okay? Right? 280 people. Yes, I want to do it, okay? 180 people made it to the group. So straight away, 100 people haven't shown up. They haven't come in, even into the group, to be able to watch the intro video. Okay, so straight away, 100 people gone. So then out of that 180 people, we've got 62 here. Okay, so 62 people out of 180. So like today, 24 people out of 180 have completed that task. Okay, God, balls. No, Simon, they're not, right? But what ends up happening here, this is where I feel so sad, This is where I feel the most gutted. And this is where I used to, I think I named the podcast, It's Me, Not You. Okay. This is where we have to understand that we can't help everybody. But for me, what I see is 250-ish people. If each one of those people is a father, if each one of those people is a husband, if each one of those people is overweight, they've missed this incredible opportunity to change the way that they're going to show up. Okay. And this is the saddest part for me, is that we could have given them a few nuggets that could have changed everything. And it's consistent missed opportunities that allow you to stay in the same cycle. Do you remember the cycle of chaos? It's these missed opportunities. And it's what I'm about to go through now is the reason why those people haven't showed up. Okay. And it's so important to understand this, because this is going to happen to you, to anyone that doesn't continue. You're going to go into Monday, and within 17 to 14 days, it's your challenge if you choose to accept it. If you don't, if you decide not to join us, that's absolutely fine. Okay. I only want people that are committed. I'm only looking for guys that are ready to put it on the line. Okay. Ready to invest in themselves, ready to cut the bullshit. But for those that are not ready and they go off by themselves, your mission is to make sure you don't become one of these statistics that within 17 to 14 days, one of these things happen to you. And I'm going to take you through, okay, the process of what happens. Okay, so there are key things that happen. You procrastinate, you're lost, you're stressed, you're overthinking, there is anxiety. There's always a story. For every single man, there's always a story about why you can't show up. There's always a story about why you never make it through. There's always something, okay? And that story flows and penetrates this. This is your fort and your HQ, which is this, your state of mind, okay? So when I think about this book, my first book, It's a State of Mind, everything that we do is a state of mind. So out of 250 people that maybe are not now involved in this 5-day, it's their state of mind that has prevented them from growing. I'm too busy. I'm too stressed. There's too much going on. I don't have time for this. Yada, yada. It's the story. It's bullshit. And you know it. And we've spoken this week very much about the bullshit that you tell yourself. Now, if you listen to the round table with some of those guys who have come through this system, they openly were saying, I used to lie to myself. I would not confront the man in the mirror. And what happens is all of these things, they penetrate our mindset. Okay. And when they penetrate our mindset, they have this negative effect where we stop showing up. We're in that low emotional state. And what ends up happening is it affects your decision making. So who here has had the fuck it mentality where you go, just fuck it, fuck the world, fuck this, right? In the comments, just let me know you've just gone, oh, fuck it. I have, back in the past, way back in the day when I didn't respect myself enough. And a lot of that is because of the story that I told myself. Okay. I told myself that story. So our decision making then leads to our actions. So if we're procrastinating, if we're lost, if we're stressed, if we're overthinking, if we're anxious, if we're busy, if we're distracted, okay, what we end up going is going, right, our actions are one of pity, one I feel sorry for myself, one I'm just going to booze, one I'm just going to say I fucking hate the world, one that some of you are just going to tolerate and accept that's the way that you're going to live your life. Okay, imagine tolerating that life for the next 5 years. Who would be, who would be happy with that? Who would be happy with tolerating a bullshit life full of shit, full of bad decisions, full of emotional actions? Because your results become very average. I'm going to shut these blinds. Because your results become very average. You have the average lifestyle. You have an average marriage. You have an average body. And who is happy with average? Okay. Who Who the fuck is happy with average? If you are happy with average, you need to log off now and you just go and live your fucking average life, right? Because I'm not here to build average men. I'm here to build elite men. I'm here to build men that want to make their life count, that want to leave a legacy, that want to commit to a better version of themselves, right? I'm not here to promote, oh, it's going to be okay, because it's not, you know? And if you're happy to tolerate it, it's not going to be okay, you're in the wrong fucking place. I am the wrong guy for you. Okay. So you're worth logging off or switching off and then going off to live your life. I'm here to fucking take men to the best of their ability. That's what I'm here to do. So this is a direct result. So what do we have to do? Okay. We have to fight back. Okay. So in true military fashion, okay. In fact, before we move on, let me just look at some of these comments. So I tend to use the excuse something more important needs to be done, but you're right, it's an excuse because probably an excuse because I probably waste time on non-value things I could have done before, 100%, right? And then feel like a failure, even though fighting every day to keep out of trouble, to keep onto of bills and tidying apartments, just feels like it's not good enough. Okay. So again, that's a low emotional state comment. And it's not me digging at you, Sean. It's just a case of like, why do we feel like a failure? Okay. It's making sure that we go, right. My challenge is that, for example, Sean's been quite open there, which is great. Is that if I feel like a failure and I'm fighting every day to keep out of trouble, my challenge is always, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Okay. And you remember when I talked about a low emotional state, Sean's talking about, oh, why, this is why it keeps happening and why I'm in that state. How am I going to change it? What are the steps that I'm going to take? Does that make sense to everyone? So if you are this guy, if you are here, okay, and there's an element of you that isn't here because you're here watching, right? You're not some of these stats, but if you're here, what the fuck are you going to do about it? That's my question. Is like, what, we're going to keep going? We're going to go straight back to Monday next week and just do the same fucking thing? Or are you going to make a plan of action and do something about it? And it's always the question, so what? What are you going to do about it? And that's how I approach mentoring with my clients. When they sit there and they piss and whinge, I just interrupt them because I'm like, dude, you're full of shit and it's full of pity. What are we going to do about it? Because that just snaps them out of that funk, that mentality. And those lads that I spoke to today, all of them, I've done the same for all of them. Just snap them out of it. Because that's what it is. It's like this little mindset funk that you're in, that you constantly feel sorry for yourself. You're constantly waiting for someone to come and change your life. That's not happening. No one's coming to save you. You know? And I know it sounds harsh and I might sound like a dick, but it's only because I genuinely care, because it's not just you, there are ripple effects. Because actually your wife and your kids, when you're not showing up for them, are learning to live without you. So you can't be surprised when your wife decides to turn around and leave you. It shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise that you neglect your health for so long and you look in the mirror and you're not attractive, you've put weight on, and your wife doesn't want to have sex with you. Like, these are real facts. These are things that men don't talk about. These are things that men do not talk about, because obviously I'm an arsehole because I'm upsetting somebody's mental health. Their mental health is in the gutter because they haven't been training for the last 6 weeks. Their health is in the gutter because they're prioritizing their work over their family. Do you know what I mean? Something's wrong with the connection because you're not showing up for the wife. Now, I put three on my post today. I've talked about 3 ways that you can upgrade your marriage. Number 1, when was the last time you asked your wife how she is? Hey, how was your day? How's your mental health? How are you doing? Okay. Number 2, when was the last time you went on a date night? When was the last time you took her out? When was the last time you went for drinks? When was the last time you got romantic? Or is it just all about you and all about what you're going through? Do you know, these are important strategies, and you think about these things more when you're on the next level of thinking about yourself. When you start prioritizing yourself and you put your mask on, your oxygen mask, then You start paying more attention to your wife. It's the attention to detail. Most of your connections are shit because you're showing up like shit. You can't expect to have a good marriage if you're not leading the marriage, if you're not making the effort, if you're not allowing her to go off and have time. It's a team effort in a marriage. There's two people in there. You've got to work as a team. There are not two individuals under one roof. There are two people working together to support the children, to pay the bills, to support each other, to have fun along the way. But somewhere along the way, you forgot that fun because you stopped showing up for yourself. You're too busy feeling sorry for yourself, wondering why. You're looking in the mirror and feel ashamed. Like, you know, it's hard, but it's the way it is. It might not apply to everybody, but it applies for over 95% of you. Okay. On fire. Right. Okay. So let's look at the remember the mission principles. Okay. Hey, and by the way, before you sit there and go, what the fuck do you know? Everything I'm telling you is what I told myself because that's who I was. So I know what's going on in your head, and I know the ego, and I know the stubbornness, and I know how triggered you'll be because that's how triggered fucking I was. When I had that same conversation with myself, when I looked in the mirror and I went, you don't look like a Royal Marine physical trainer. You can't be surprised that your wife doesn't want to have sex most of the time because you're not fucking showing up for her. You're not supporting her. You're not on top of a game, on top of your game. And like, she wasn't my wife then, but she was my girlfriend, right? My wife now, when I'm showing up. I'm wondering why my business is not growing. It's because I'm not showing up. Back in 2014, I'm like, why is my business plateaued? It's because I'm not the man myself. If I'm not building the man, I'm not being the asset. I'm not being the leader of my business or my family. It's harsh realities, but if you want to change, you've got to face them. So this is like a battlefield. This is like a battlefield. So boom, this is the enemy, okay? And these are the Royal Marines, okay? So what we have to be able to do is come and support this fort and this state of mind here. We've got to make sure we protect it, reinforce it. Otherwise, it's going to be overrun with all of this fucking average bullshit here, okay? So first one, 4 C's. The 4 C's. Consistency of action. Control of your time, energy, and focus. Clarity of where you're going and how you're going to get there. And commitment to the cause. Consistency, control, clarity, commitment. When anyone isn't showing up, ask yourself which C is missing. So if you was to ask yourself right now, today, with where your life is right now, what is missing? Are you consistent with your action? Do you have control of your time, energy, and focus? Do you have clarity of where you're going and how you're going to get there? And do you have commitment to the cause? Okay. Which of those 4 C's, okay, are you missing right now? And I probably expect that out of the 22 people here, probably all of them. Number 2, what's the mission? Okay, key principle to showing up and achieving purpose, direction, and embracing life is having a mission. Without the mission, you are nothing. A soldier without a mission is lost. He's just walking around going, I've trained, like, I'm ready to go. Like, where am I going? Okay, so the mission, it brings purpose, direction, and the ability to embrace life. Okay, that was principle number 2. Make sense? Number 3, SRS. You've heard me talking about it all week. Structure, routine, and system. The structure for this week has been morning tasks in the morning. Ask me anything around 3 o'clock. Evening coaching, 7:30. That is the structure. Okay. The routines is getting into the routine of going, right, you waking up, looking at even at the challenge and going, right, I'm going to get this done before 7 or 8 o'clock. Okay. Making sure that actually when you get that note of ask me anything, I set some time just to ask a question on this. And then setting a routine is going between 7:30 and 8:30, I'm doing this, turning up and showing up. The reason that people aren't here is because they have no SRS. There's no structure, no routine and system. If we don't have that, we're this. If we're not SRS, we're this. Okay. Okay. So SRS keeps us afloat. It keeps us moving. It keeps us organized. Okay. TEF, time, energy, focus, knowing what you're doing with it. I really hope that the majority of you manage your money. Okay. So I will look at my bank account every single morning at the same time. I already know what's coming out, but I still look at it anyway because it's something that is absolutely key and essential to making sure that you know where you are with your funds. Okay. Making sure that you manage your money. So there's no surprises. Okay. To the penny. That's good management. But more important than that is knowing where your time is going. Because your time today, for example, you'll never get back. These 5 days, we look at this, and for 250 people, they're not going to get this opportunity again. But they might do down the line, but what will have changed? If we do another one, which we haven't decided to do, whether we're going to do another one or not, we might not do another one this year because we've got so many projects on. But then again, you don't get that time back. For you guys that have been with us all the way through, man, you've got that real investment of time. You've got some gold nuggets. Okay, so time, energy, focus. Excuse me. God, man down. Progression. Who here loves the feeling of progression? Okay, so in the comments, if you like the feeling of progression, in the comments, tell me how that feels. Okay, I love progression. I love feeling progression. It makes me feel fulfilled, right? It makes me feel accomplished. It makes me feel that all of the work that I'm doing is paying off, even if it's just 1% a day. Even if I don't react negatively in the car, okay, which is by the way, my kryptonite is driving. I hate driving. If I don't react in the car and I'm like, oh, I'm quite regulated in the car, to me, that's how I come back and go, fucking hell. I didn't beep at anyone. I didn't call anyone a dickhead. I didn't fucking go to road rage fits. And I haven't actually for ages because I've been working on my regulation, my emotional regulation. Okay. A funny thing to get. But progression comes in great ways. Okay. And for those that work with us and come to work with us, you're going to feel that progression. Boom, 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 boom. And the progression could be just overcoming fear. It could be taking action. It could be understanding yourself better. It could be like, man, fucking, I'm not just staying in this stale place where I don't feel like anything's happening, right? I'm working towards something bigger. So it's an emotional driver, right? So it's an emotional driver. There are some really good things there. Sense of achievement, stronger. It's evolving. It's dynamic. It feels great. It makes me feel bigger like that. There's growth, like I'm winning. There's all good emotions there. They're strong emotions, right? Emotions are huge. And then the last one, emotional connection. Okay. So my emotional connection to my work is the fact that I was in the position that you were in. So I know what it's like. And there was no one on the scene when I was struggling. There's no one doing what I do here now on the scene. So for me, it's a real passion to be able to change men's lives or be able to just cut their bullshit to be able to achieve. That's all I do really. As a mentor, my approach to mentoring is just making sure that you cut your bullshit because your potential is huge. You do not even realize how much fucking potential you've got. And that is the crazy thing. You do not realize how much potential as a human being you have. You don't realize how much more there is to squeeze. You don't realize how further you could go in your careers, in your families, as yourself. You don't realize because you're so caught up in fear. You're so caught up in procrastination. You're so caught up in a rat race. And it's my job to break that all of that bullshit down so you can be this incredible human being that you deserve to be, right? So what does all of this do? This is fighting back against this, but how does it do that? Okay. So over a period of time, what will end up happening? You will slowly become more conditioned mentally, emotionally, and physically. If anyone knows what I'm doing or what I'm drawing, please write it in the comments. Okay, what do people think I've just put there? So this is what happens when we constantly follow these principles, okay? And the principles fight back, okay? So what have I just done? What is this around the fort that I've drawn? A castle with a moat. I love it. Good. Kevin's close. Awesome moat. I should have been an artist, right? So what happens when we work on the principles? When all of this comes back into play, and by the way, this David PW Coates, bang on, yeah, resilience to the moats. When this happens, this is always going to happen. This is never going to change. I cannot ever stop you overthinking. I can never stop the anxiety. I can never stop the procrastination. We can never stop you feeling lost. We can never stop you being stressed, ever. Doesn't matter what we do. Okay, but you can certainly reduce it monumentally. You can control it so much better and manage it so much better. You remember when we spoke about resilience on Tuesday night? I was looking at my phone then, thinking it was on there. We we talked about resilience, and the way that we build up resilience is by conditioning the mind, is by conditioning the thought and the state of mind. So the more that we work on ourselves with these principles, the bigger this force field becomes. So when all of this comes in, bang, instead of penetrating us, it bounces off us. So all the things that we used to get stressed about, we no longer get stressed about. When we start procrastinating and it's trying to get through to our mind, we're so aware of what's going on around us that we don't allow the procrastination. Just do what is fucking required, regardless of how you feel. Self-discipline. Overcome. Stress is building up. Take a step back, regulate, breathe, meditate, walk around the block, come back, calm and collective. You're suddenly being an operator within the mission. So in order to achieve the mission, you've got to be this elite operator. Okay. It's almost like a alter ego that you build up inside yourself. So I'm quite fortunate having been in the military. When I feel like I need to switch on, when I feel like I need to turn it on, I'll always go into what I call green mode. And if you're a former Royal Marine, you'll get this. When you're green mode, it's like when you're about to fucking go on patrol in Afghanistan, you put your fucking lid on, you put your battle kit on, and you're ready to go to war. Okay. So for you, you build that up inside of your head. So you can visualize it as a special forces soldier. Maybe it's a character in the film that you've seen that you're like, fucking, he's the guy, Maverick, whatever. But you, yeah, like a super, like you suddenly go into game mode. Bumblebee is another great one. I always call my daughter 7-year-old Bumblebee, and she won a jiu-jitsu tournament. And she's this very sweet, cute girl. And then she did this competition and she was throwing people who were bigger than her around, and she won gold. And with Bumblebee, his mask comes down when he goes into battle mode. That's kind of like that alter ego. Okay, so when this stuff around life happens, you go into fucking superhero mode. You go into like that mode, and this defense mechanism gets thicker and thicker and thicker. Yeah, that's a really good one, Simon. It's like the shields in Spartan of 300 when they work together. And a lot of this is then dealt with. Every now and then, it's going to seep through and we're going to have the bad day and we're going to maybe have fallen behind and we're going to have made a mistake. But guess what? We learn from that and we reinforce that state of mind. Does that make sense to everyone? Is this making sense? Because this, guys, believe it or not, okay, is probably the most important part of the whole week. This is probably the most important thing to take away. And this is why we have gone from 62 to 24, because everything that's going on in life here has got into that brain and has gone off from here. And you have all shown a potential here of building around that fort. It's always the same. When anyone comes in, there's 10% of people that are the doers. If you saw my email when I opened up the doors for the Remember the Mission, remember I said this is just for the 1% of you, because 99% of you aren't doers, aren't the people here. So I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that when you're not showing up and it is not happening for you, it's because one of these things is missing. Something is missing. So when you can self-diagnose yourself and you go, all right, what is missing? Right, I'm not managing my time properly. It's causing stress to get into my thought. So I then need to work on that. Maybe I don't feel like I'm progressing. Maybe I haven't got the right direction to progress. Okay. Maybe I feel like lost, and lost is getting your state of mind. So you go, man, my mission isn't strong enough. Or I'm not connecting with it. So you can almost self-diagnose yourself about why you're not showing up. Okay. And you can almost go away and go, right, why haven't I been showing up for this year? So let's do 2024. Why have I not shown up? Why am I still overweight? Why am I still not connecting with my wife? Why am I not thriving in my career? Why am I not next up for my promotion? Why am I not making the extra 10 grand in my business? And it's because either these are missing or these are just getting through. Okay. And your barriers are not strong enough. You're not resilient enough. And it's weak-mindedness. And that's not an insult, because if you don't go to the gym, you have a weak body. If you don't train your mind, you have a weak mind. And the way you build up a strong mindset is by putting yourself on the line all the time. All the time. Okay. Cool. All right. So that ends the coaching. 2 secs. Oops, that's not what we want. Where is it, my people? Two secs. Cool. Right, guys, are there any questions on anything at all so far? Anything that we've covered this week? Anything that we've done tonight? Anything on the 90-day program? So the 4 C's. Consistency, control, clarity. Sure, that's how you spell it. And commitment. Okay. Look, Gareth wrote it much quicker than I did on text. So just if you're writing questions, just a reminder, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, me and my number 2 are meeting at 12 o'clock. My operations manager, he used to be he was one of my first clients, now works for me. We're going to talk about what it takes to win. Okay, we're going to talk about what it takes to win. Okay, and how men showing up win, and how they don't win, and what they need to do to get to that next level. Right, let me put this in here as well. Somebody's just asked me to put this in. Right, 2 secs. And to let everybody know that we are in. Right, here is the link, guys, for the program as well. Let me pin this. Cool. So let's have a look here. Please, can you take a photo of the whiteboard and share it in a group? Yes, I will do that. That's fine. Any more questions on anything at all whilst you've got this time? Okay. So tomorrow is the last day, and we're going to do the thing with John at 12, and then we've got a wrap-up session next week. About setting yourself up for next week. We're going to do the thing with John at 12. And also what we're going to look into the last task as well. Okay. Day 4, task 4. What are good ideas to use the routine to use for the routine bit? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, mate. So are you asking, JB, do you find yourself that you have to revisit the basics regularly? The basics all the time. The basics are the foundations. Okay. So let me draw you this diagram real quick. Okay. Okay. So the basics are absolutely key. The basics are what you have to do every single day. Okay. So down here are your principles, your SRS is, well, yeah, principles, includes your SRS. So all of these are your foundations. This is your basics. And in order to build up your life at different chapters, okay, here, this has to be stable. We always come back to these principles because this is the thing that keeps the tower up. If this wasn't here, what would end up happening is that your tower would end up falling without foundations. A building without foundations will topple over. So if you do not revisit your basics every single day, and if they don't become non-negotiables and they become a way of life, then your tower will fall over. Now I'm at chapter like 1,700. So my skyscraper is like high. Yours is here. The thing we do over the 90 days is building the foundations and maybe going up a few floors. Okay, makes sense. Is there an app for access to the site? There is. There is. So it is here. There it is right there. So if I click onto that, smooth, it goes straight through to the community there. Okay, so it's super easy to use. That's probably not going to be very clear on the phone. Super easy to use. Okay. Do you find yourself? Yeah. Positive habits and positive routines. I've picked a few habits, but not sure. Picked a few habits, but not sure what to use for the negative routines or positive routines. Just whatever. So what routines are no good for you? So if you're on your phone too much, then write down that you're on your phone too much and why it's a negative thing. If you are starting to get up early in the morning, then that's a positive routine and why it's helping you. It's understanding why it's a positive routine, what it brings to your life, and what a negative one doesn't bring to your life. No worries. Would you say your core values are in the foundations as well? 100%. Okay. Core principles and values, always in here, everything you stand for. Okay. So, for me, a huge one is integrity. A huge one is commitment. It's just doing the work. I kind of got to the point in my life where I don't have time to faff words. I just say it as it is. That's just how I see it. I think a lot of my values have grown through there in terms of that's who I am. And I was almost too fearful to be my true self as a mentor in that respect. So I think it's really important to know who you are. Those values represent what you stand for in life, right? And my values now are so vastly different to the prick that I was when I was a 30-year-old. And they're only so strong now because I went through and made all of those decisions as a young, egotistical physical training instructor as a Royal Marine, right? I made many mistakes, but those mistakes create the man. I've always had the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Cool. Any final questions, guys? Last chance. And then we're going into the last day. Okay, so if any of you register tonight or any of you register tomorrow, we are going to make sure that we talk before the weekend because I am going to Spain to run a retreat next week. We don't officially start until Monday week. So next week is a bonus week for those lads that are coming in to get your head around the platform that I showed you. Excuse me. And you'll get to work. Those guys are already doing accountability. They're already in and amongst it. So you're going to hit the ground running. Okay. And it's going to be an incredible experience for those of you coming on board. I think that's it. It doesn't look like there's any more questions coming through. Thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate you being here. And I really hope that you're getting the value that you need from this. I'm going to put this up on the podcast tomorrow morning. If you haven't listened to the podcast, I am slowly chipping away at putting up all of the coaching sessions and the success stories. So with the boys today, you can go back and watch that. And there is also Tim's from Monday. Monday seems like fucking ages ago, wasn't it? No worries, guys. Good. All right. I will see you tomorrow for the final day.